Hello and welcome back to Scale Down Customs. This is going to be part 5 of the 1963 Mustang II original concept car commission build. And hopefully in this video I'm going to get this thing finished up, and I am going to talk about who commissioned this build, what it's for. I'll add some links for more information on what this build is in the descriptions below. So let's just pick right up where we left off. Alright, so I got the body painted again. So we're ready to put the stripes on, and to do that I'm just going to be using some Tamiya 1mm masking tape and then some vinyl 3mm masking tape to mask up my stripes. So let's work on that. Alright, so I got my lines all taped out, and then we just figure out which ones come up and which ones stay. So the center one comes out, then the next two stay, and then the next one comes off, and then the larger one stays, and then we'll mask off the rest of the body, and then we'll go paint our stripes. Alright, and to fill the gaps on these curves, where the license plate goes, I'm just going to use a little liquid mask to fill in those gaps, since the tape doesn't really want to conform to all those areas. So we'll just use some liquid mask to help mask that off a little bit better. Alright, got her all masked up. Let's go spray some blue stripes. All right, that looks so much better than those decals. I should have done that in the first place, but that's why we do this, so we can learn for next time. Anyway, I'm really happy with the way those stripes turned out. So we're gonna let that dry, and then I think we'll be ready for some assembly. All right, so while we're letting those other pieces dry up, let's do some chassis assembly to get ready to put this thing together. For my glue, I'm just going to be using my gap filling medium CA glue. I got this from MRS Hobby Shop in Sandy. So we'll be using that to kind of as my primary glue to kind of glue everything together. All right, so not a lot of detail on the undercarriage, just some basic components to kind of hold the suspension pieces in. And, you know, I guess if you look under it a little bit, you can see the exhaust. But again, this is just basically it's a curbside. It's just going to serve its purpose as a photo car. All right, so let's let that dry up and keep moving with the other stuff. All right, so to continue the body, we need to finish up some of the chrome pieces around the body, mostly the windshield surround and the wing windows, and then just finishing up the detail painting on some of the other pieces and the grille, headlights, taillights installed, things like that. So let's do some bare metal foil around the windshield surround. All right, so some basic tools for bare metal foil. Once again, sharp blade, and then this is just my medium blade that I use mostly for cutting to keep my blade sharp for when I'm trimming it on the body. And then just a toothpick to kind of burnish it down, and then some Q-tips, fine point Q-tip by Tamiya, and then just some regular Q-tips just to kind of burnish things down. So let's do some bare metal foil. All right, not too bad. I've got some touch-up pieces I need to do. So I think I am going to just do the underside in here just to blend it all together. But for the underside, I'm actually going to paint that with my Malto liquid chrome pen refills. So I'll be using that to touch up my corners, any spots where it's torn, where I've got the white showing through. And then, yeah, I'll just paint the inside edges just to kind of blend it all in. All right, so one of the drawbacks with painting with this liquid chrome is it takes forever to dry, which is why I don't like using it on my touch surfaces, but I'm okay using it underneath. So I'm going to let this dry for a while so I don't end up smudging anything or putting fingerprints in it, and then we'll continue getting this thing finished up. All right, so the next thing I want to work on is the tires. I just want to get the mold line taken off and sand down the tread just a little bit. Gives it a little bit more of a realistic look in my opinion. And I saw this method on Model Car Video's channel and I really liked it, so I've been using it ever since. And if you haven't seen this on his channel, I'll just go over it real quick. It's just basically one long bolt, a couple of drawer knobs with some holes drilled in them. I didn't have a drill press, so mine are not quite centered. And then you put your tire in between, sandwich it down, twist your nut on there just to kind of hold them together. And these tires are really small, so I'll have to get the sandpaper down in there. But I love this method, so thanks Matt for showing this. And it just holds the tire, and that way I can spin it in my drill and it gives me a good sand on my tread. So I'll get this chucked up and we'll do that. You just want to snug this up on there. You don't want to squeeze it down and damage your threads because then you won't be able to get that nut off. And then you can just use the sandpaper of your choice and sand down your tires. It is a little bit of a process to do all 4 tires, but in my opinion, I think it's totally worth it. What a great idea. Thanks again, Matt. All right, I'm gonna go get these tires washed off and move ahead to the next one. All right, just got those rinsed off in the sink. So I think we're ready to start putting some stuff together. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna explain more about this project, what it's for, and I'm gonna read some talking points prepared by the person who commissioned this build from me, Mr. Mark Gustafson. So I'll just kind of read his explanation about the project, what it is, and I'll include a couple of links in the description below for more information. And so I'll just read that while I'm putting some stuff together. So this model is of the famed Mustang II for the Lynx project and is a scale replica of an actual car that was one of 3 cars constructed for the 1962-1963 Ford Division's X-Car concept car program, the Cougar II, the Allegra, and the Mustang II. The model has been reissued many times since the original 1964 Industrial Motive Corporation kit. This kit was built from the tester's reissue of that kit. This model will be displayed in the Lynx project to illustrate an entirely fictional but plausible part of the Ford Motor Company corporate concept car history in the early 60s. The Lynx project was conceived by Mark S. Gustafson as speculative fiction to attempt to explain why it was only apparently true that Lincoln Mercury Division didn't have an equivalent concept car program to the Ford X-Car program that led to the 1964 Mustang. In fact, the Lynx project lays a story that such cars were designed and built, exhibited on a limited basis, and then suppressed by upper management, with the LM concept cars ultimately stored in a private warehouse. Later, in 2017, to be discovered and restored and introduced to the automotive media and public. In the Lynx History Project, 36 craftsmen who have collectively spent many thousands of hours since the start of the project in 1993 have built a host of fictional concept cars, including the 4 Lynx prototype cars using a fresh design that bore some resemblance of the Allegra concept car, and dioramas to tell a fictional story of how the LM division really did, according to the Lynx tale, design and build 4 versions of the basic Lynx design, which was created in 1963 and the 1964 era. This model of the Mustang II will be placed in a diorama of the Detroit's Dearborn Steel Tubing Shop, where the actual car was built in 1963, at the same time that the initial work on the first Lynx concept car was underway. Famed dioramist Don Strong built a 1/24 scale diorama of the DST shop. The 4 Lynx prototypes have been built by Randy Durr, Lynx 1, Kurt Reitz, Lynx 2, Vince Labosco, links 3, and Mark S. Gustafson, links 4. For more information on this project, first started back in 1993, please go to the links project link below. The project will be presented at the finale of the GSL International Scale Vehicle Championship and Convention in May of 2023 in Salt Lake City at the Sheraton Hotel. Also check out that link below. I'll also include 3 images of the original Mustang II from 1963. Alright, so one of the problems with switching out different components from different kits is these wing window frames do not fit the wing windows that I currently have. So we're going to have to make our own. So I just found some packaging material from an old toothbrush, and we're going to cut this up and see if we can't make some windows out of it. Oh, one thing about gluing the rims onto the wheels, make sure if you're going to do that, if you're going to use a super glue, I learned this from the Scale Modeling channel, is use the Clear Part Safe super glue because it doesn't gas out as much as the other super glues, so it doesn't craze your tires. So anyway, all right, now let's make some windows. Alright, I got both the doors glued in. They didn't fit super cleanly, and of course I broke the door handle, so I had to put that back on. And that chrome, that Maltol chrome, it's still not super dry, so I'll need to retouch that up again, kind of re-chrome some of my parts, including some of the door handles on the inside and stuff. But not super happy with that, but that's where we're at. And the kit is just does not want to fit together very well. All right, let that dry up and then we'll mate the interior to the body. All right, so one of the last things that I wanted to do is custom make some exhaust tips, and for that I'm just going to be using some aluminum round, some number 8101. All right, so I'm just using some reverse tweezers just to hold that enough, and then just some pretty aggressive sandpaper, some sanding discs, and then my drill just to kind of hold everything together and get me a nice sand on these tips. All right, and then to get a little bit of a shine on there, I'm just going to use some polishing compound and then my polishing sponges and just polish these tips up a little bit to get a little bit of a shine on them. Alright, so there you can see a little bit of the difference on there. It just shines it up a little bit. Just gives it that kind of that stainless steel look, or the polished aluminum. So that's what we're going for. All right, mostly done. I say mostly done because I still have the rear view mirrors that are supposed to go kind of up on the fenders up here like that and that. I think I'm gonna wait to put these on because I'm not sure. Normally I would drill a little hole in the body to accommodate the mounting point, the little knobs there, but I'm gonna wait on those because I don't know if Mark's gonna want those on right now or not, so we're gonna wait on those. But the stance is really off. This chassis did not want to fit. I'm sure it's fighting the dashboard and some interior components, but the front wheels are up way too high and the back wheels are way too low. So I think I'm going to try to cut or break the front wheels off because I've got them glued on pretty good, and then we're going to remount those a little bit lower. And they're out wider than the rear wheels as well. So we're going to work on correcting the stance and get these wheels, these front wheels, lined up a little bit better, and I think we're going to call that good and see how that works out. All right, that stance is a lot better, so I'm liking that. Yeah, and no wobble. Perfect. Okay, good. I think that's going to do it for this build. I'm going to get this cleaned up and then ready for the photo op. I'll add a couple of photos of the original car as well. But yeah, it was a little bit of a stressful build. Not super happy with it, but I wish it would have come out a little bit better in a couple of areas, especially with the interior fitment and the chassis fitment. But we'll see if that's going to work for the project that it's intended for. Anyway, so that'll do it for this series. Appreciate you guys watching, and so yeah, we'll be ready for another project after this one. So stay tuned for that to see what that's going to be. As always, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.